Chapter 8. The Entrance to the Hidden Temple. As they waited for Kenny, Simon walked around the edge of the hole, scouting it out. The waterfall was the end of a river that was flowing through the jungle. As he got closer, he could hear the rush of the water over the rapids in the distance. He looked back. Kenny was slowly getting to his feet. He waved to them, cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted to them, "Come on! We can get down over here!" They carefully clambered down the rock slide next to the waterfall, holding onto the vines, roots and rocks as they descended. Terry and Kerry just curled up into balls and rolled down, their plated armor protecting them. They were the first to get to the bottom and sprung out of their balls, landing onto their feet. "Where is it?" Terry said to Kerry. "What?" she replied. "The treasure!" he said impatiently. They looked around but could only see rocks, moss, plants, and more rocks. They went to the walls, looking for any sign of an entrance or where the light might have come from. "Aha!" exclaimed Kerry, her hands on a round silver disc. "Look what I found!" "What?" asked Simon, who had gotten to the bottom. It's began Kerry. Oh, nothing," interrupted Terry. "It's a mirror," Simon said excitedly. "Look!" he called out to Sarah and Kenny, who were still stepping down from one rock to another. Simon looked around and started to see a number of mirrors strategically placed around the sunken cylinder. "They must have seen a reflection," he thought to himself. He looked towards the sun, to where the sunlight was shining down, but being careful not to look into it directly. He started plotting where the reflection of the orb would have been shining for them to see it from where they had been standing. "What are you doing?" asked Kerry. "It must be up there," shouted Simon, pointing to halfway up the waterfall. "What?" asked Terry. "Where the reflection of the orb came from." "Where?" shouted Sarah. "Up there," Simon replied, pointing back up the waterfall. Both Sarah and Kenny looked at where Simon was pointing, then at each other, then to Simon, and then back up the path of rubble. They both sighed. "Come on!" yelled Simon as he started running back towards the way up. "What do you think we'll find?" Kerry asked Terry quietly. "I don't know, but it better be worth all this trouble," Terry replied. They were treasure hunters, and they had been travelling from land to land searching for treasures that had been hidden away, some of them for hundreds of years. They would often hear tall tales of riches, but most of the time they found nothing. They had yet to discover the big find that would make them rich. This could be it, the discovery of a lifetime. As they reached the point where they were right next to the waterfall, they stopped. "Now what?" asked Terry. Simon looked around. "It must be behind the waterfall. We have to find a way to get behind it." Kenny wanted to show that he was still the brave one. He grabbed onto some roots coming out of the rocks, took a deep breath and closed his eyes before disappearing behind the curtain of water. "Kenny!" shouted Sarah as she saw him moving. "Kenny!" she called out again. They all waited. Nothing. "Kenny!" Simon shouted. Suddenly, Kenny's soaking head popped from behind the water. "Come on, guys!" he shouted over the roar of the water, with his usual cheeky grin back in place. His head disappeared behind the water again. Each of them took their turn to step into the falling water.